Hey, good people. How y'all doing? Today I'm going to be giving you my review on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 10. Let's go. So Candy and Kenya are both taking their little sweet cutie pies, Brooklyn and Blaze, to a play date. And these little babies, y'all, these little girls are so adorable. I just can't. It is a beautiful thing to see, as Candy says in her confessional, the fact that she and Kenya both have their girls and just hang out with each other. And that let me know that Candy and Kenya really do have a good friendship. The simple fact that Candy said that she prayed for years that Kenya would have a baby. And, of course, Candy wanted to have a bigger family herself. I just thought that was so sweet. Candy did not have to say all of that in her confessional, but it definitely gave us an inside look into their relationship. And Kenya explains to Candy that she has a lot of deals for her hair care line, but she doesn't have the supply. So Candy says in her confessional, if she has the right team, she'll get to where she needs to get to. Kenya does mention that she has been able to establish a team. So I'm hoping that everything works out with Kenya in her hair care line so that she can build this empire for herself and for her daughter. Candy does tell Kenya about the whole situation with Marlo and the boys, letting her know that she kicked them out. And Candy's like, you know what, I can relate. Candy had to take care of her cousin back in 2005. She helped raise him. And so Candy is very family oriented. If you guys have not seen that already, she basically takes care of not just her immediate family, but from what I see, all of her family. Okay, if you're a family member of Candy's, you doing okay. And she's making sure you're doing okay. And I absolutely love that. She's not one of those people, if I have it, you don't have it. She's one of those people, if I have it, we all have it. So we see that Sheree is doing some stuff with She by Sheree, apparently. Marlo is getting her clothing together for this trip. And Sonia is also out there in them streets making that money, honey. Candy is at home with her assistant and they're packing for the upcoming trip to Blue Ridge Mountain. Candy calls Marlo and lets Marlo know that Kenya is not coming on this trip. And who could really blame Kenya with the whole situation between her and Marlo? It just always gets really, really bad. It's not like a little fight and that's that. It's really, as Kenya later describes in the episode, toxic. And so I wouldn't want to be a part of anything Marlo is doing either. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. At the beginning of this season, when I found out that Marlo was on the show, I was really hoping that we would see a different side of her, because there is a different side of Marlo. There's that loving side that she does have. I know a lot of people probably are going to disagree with me, but I've seen it. And then there's that cutthroat side of her. And it's the cutthroat side of her that overshadows the loving, sincere side of Marlo. But unfortunately, she's disappointed me this season. After all these years, you really can't get yourself under control. Anywho, Marlo's like, okay, if Kenya's not coming, it's no big deal. We'll survive. In the next scene, Marlo is at home and they're panning in on the room that her nephews shared. She's actually invited her sister Crystal over so her sister can see the disaster that is the boys' room. Let me just stop right here and say, these are teenage boys we're talking about. When I'm looking at this room, I see nothing out of the ordinary. This is typical teenage behavior, but apparently it's not for Marlo, obviously, because she's not a mom. She has not raised any children. The only people that she's had to really take care of for the most part is herself. So this is all new to her. I didn't realize that her sister apparently lived in a 2-bedroom apartment and had 4 small children of her own before Marlo came and asked her to take care of her 2 nephews. But I will say this, clearly her sister did it. If her sister didn't feel like she could do it, I'm pretty sure that she would have told Marlo that she couldn't do it. And another thing that I have to give Marlo credit for, and I know that she doesn't deserve any credit the way that she's gone about everything, but she brought the boys to someone who she trusted and who she knew was going to take care of them. And I guess if you're going to give your child up, at least you're going to give them to somebody who you know is going to do right by them. Marlo and Crystal are talking and Marlo asks her to give her some advice with the boys, and her sister says, listen, you shouldn't say things like you don't have to take care of them, because that doesn't help the situation given all that they've been through. Marlo, I can't believe you would say that to these boys. Like, that's really hurtful. I do feel like like Marlo should be a little bit more sensitive to her nephews given all that they've been through. So Marlo says to her sister, you know where we came from, you know how our mother spoke to us. And Marlo recounts times where her mother said that she had big feet and she was bald-headed and she was this, that, and the third. It's sad that that's how she grew up and that those are the memories that she has of her mother. And hurt people hurt people. And I think that Marlo is still hurting from her childhood. I've never heard her say that she's really addressed some of the issues that happened during her childhood. And I think that for this particular point in time, the boys are probably where they need to be with her sister until Marlo can get herself together. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight. I think Marlo needs counseling herself. Marlo does acknowledge that she needs to work on her mouth, and I really hope that she does, guys. I really, truly hope that she does because her mouth is very reckless. In the next scene, Marlo and Sheree are meeting up. They're ready to go on this trip. Sheree arrives in a boot. Apparently she was trying on a shoe and one toe went one way and the other toes went the other way, and that's all she wrote. So she's hopping around in this boot. Marlo has ordered these luxury cars. She and Sheree are going to be traveling in the Ghost, and Candy, Manetta, and Drew are going to be traveling in a Aston Martin. Marlo delivers some wings from the OLG restaurant to Candy so that they can have something to eat while they're on this trip. These women get in the car and they try to eat this chicken, and the driver was like, no ma'am, y'all can't have that up in here. So Candy gets out of the car, because you know Candy don't play when it comes to food. She gets out, everybody gets out, and she brings them inside of her house so that they can sit down and have something to eat before they have to hit the road. It's only about, I can't remember, I think it was like an hour and a half trip, but still, you done brought them these wings that smell so good and they can't even have it in the car. A part of me says Marlo knew exactly what she was doing, but I'm gonna try to give her the benefit of the doubt. Candy calls her and lets her know, listen, you dropped this food over to us, but we can't have nothing in the car. So Marlo's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't even thinking about it because I don't eat in my car. But you ain't have no problem eating that salad and having your drinks in the Ghost. You was okay doing that, Miss Marlo. Anywho, the ladies arrive. Of course, Marlo and Sheree arrive first at this beautiful mansion. I thought it was going to be a cabin. Everybody thought it was going to be a cabin. But that's not how Marlo does. Everything is absolutely gorgeous. This, to me, is probably one of the best houses that these women have stayed at in the 14 years that they've been on TV. I can't remember a nicer place where nobody was really fighting over rooms. Everybody had their own space. So kudos to Marlo for putting that whole thing together. Even Candy says in her confessional that Marlo knows how to travel. When all of the women arrive, Marlo plays a game with them. She has these candles, and on the candles are these different sayings, and she wants the women to guess which candle saying belongs to which woman. And of course, Candy, who's just a winner at almost everything that she does, wins the first room, so she's able to go and choose which room she wants to stay in first. And unfortunately, Drew is the last person to choose a room. But like I said, guys, these rooms are so beautiful. Nobody had an issue with their room. So the ladies go out and have some dinner. We see that Sonia and her husband Ross are in another state taking care of some business. They have some type of fitness deal on the table. It's a beautiful thing when you and your husband can do something together and generate that income. Marlo says when they go out to eat to Candy that she would love to see Candy drunk like Kenya was drunk the other day. Candy's like, she's never been drunk and y'all ain't about to see different Candies walking around here. It's going to be the same Candy every time. I know that's right, girl. This whole situation with Sonia and Drew comes up again. The women are conversating about it. And I'm over it. I'm really just so sick and tired of hearing about this whole Drew and Sonia drama. It's clear that Sonia is trying to secure her peach for next season. Why else would she be trying to pick a fight with Drew? Drew is literally the person, if you're going to fight with somebody on the show, it would be her, because you're not going to pick a fight with Candy. You're not going to pick a fight with Kenya, and you're certainly not going to pick a fight with Marlo, not as low to the ground as she can go. So the easiest target would be Drew. And I didn't even say nothing about Sheree. As they're talking about this whole Sonia and Drew thing, Candy is getting texts from Kenya. Y'all know Kenya ain't going to miss this trip now. Candy says in her confessional that both she and Kenya used the same makeup and hairstylist, so she knew that Kenya was going to be coming on the trip. Kenya asks Candy to come get her, so Candy excuses herself from the table. When Candy walks back inside with Kenya, Marlo's whole spirit just took a fall. Like she was messed up. Okay. And it just let me see like, wow, Kenya has some type of hold over Marlo that you can't even really explain. I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know what it is. I just can't, like I said, you can't explain it, but you can see like Marlo's whole mood changed. All of the women, of course, were happy to see Kenya, and I was happy to see Kenya too. Now, if you would have told me prior to this season that I would like Kenya, I would be looking at you crazy. But I say this every review, Kenya has really changed. She's really likable, and I'm enjoying seeing her. Marlo says in her confessional that she's upset with Candy because Candy knew that Kenya was coming and never said anything. So the women ask Kenya if she's going to be staying at the house. Kenya says that she's going to see because she doesn't know if Brooklyn is going to be coming on the trip as well. Now, when she said that, I'm like, the type of mom that Kenya is, just being a mom in general, you know if you're taking your kids somewhere or if you're not. You know if your kids are staying with you or if they're going to be staying with somebody else. So right then and there, I was like, Kenya, you want something else? Kenya reveals that she actually got her own house. Candy seems surprised that Kenya said that she got her own house. And Kenya's like, I don't know why you surprised. If I have a house and Brooklyn is staying there, I'm going to stay with my daughter. And then she kind of mentions the fact that last year, Candy seemed to have such an issue at Cynthia's bachelorette party that Kenya had brought Brooklyn. One thing doesn't have anything to do with the other, in my opinion. Marlo does say to Kenya that Brooklyn is more than welcome to come to the house. Candy's like, this house is so big, like, there's plenty of room for Brooklyn. Candy is so pressed about Kenya staying in this house. I think that she just wants her friend to be in the house with her and enjoy, everything that they enjoy. So they're going back and forth. Kenya takes the opportunity to explain to Marlo why she don't really mess with her anymore. And everything Kenya makes sense 100%. Bottom line is the way that Marlo treats Kenya is very toxic and it is very one-sided. Now, when they first started to have their feud years ago, I mean, both of them were equally coming from the same place. Now it just seems like, as I said earlier, Marlo has whatever issue for whatever reason. A reason, again, that cannot be explained. And for me personally, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near someone like that. Let's not forget that Marlo was the same person who said that Kenya's mom didn't even want her. And I mean, that was low because Marlo knows what it's like not to be wanted. She herself was in foster care. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe the fact that Kenya didn't go through foster care, Kenya had an aunt, Kenya had a family that stood in the gap, a grandmother that stood in the gap and raised her. Maybe that's one of the issues that Marlo has, being that she didn't have that at all. She just went straight into the system. There's clearly some similarities in terms of feeling unwanted, but I just, like I said, y'all, for the life of me, I can't wrap my mind around why Marlo has such an issue with Kenya. But anywho, Kenya also brings up the fact that Marlo said that Kenya's pregnancy was a lie. Those things right there, when you say stuff like that to somebody, I totally can understand why she would want nothing to do with you. And even after Marlo said all of those things, Kenya still tried to have some type of relationship with her. But listen, how many times you going to try and get the same result? Marlo don't want to be friends with you. She just doesn't like you for whatever reason. So you need to just leave her where she's at. So Marlo says, listen, if you're not going to stay in the house, I prefer you not be at any of the activities. Marlo, I ain't never heard nobody say because you ain't staying at the house, you can't be involved in everything else that the women are doing. That is just not something that happens on these shows, and it's not gonna fly because Kenya obviously has to be filming. So you're gonna have to get over whatever little issue you have, because listen, girl, this is Bravo's production. This is not the production of Marlo. Kenya will definitely be up in these scenes, hanging and chilling with the rest of the women. So Marlo tries to say, listen, I don't understand why we have this issue, and I'm sorry that you feel this way, and you're a queen, and this, that, and the third, and I look up to you. And you know what? Like, when Marlo said that before, and I'm talking about like seasons before, it was believable. Like, okay, maybe, there's a rainbow at the end of this storm. But the reality is, this is Marlo's MO. She puts you in this position where you try to be cool with her, you guys are doing well, and then she does some stupid mess that just messes everything up, and then she tries to clean it up again. It's like, no, Marlo, it doesn't work that way. I hear what you're saying to me, but I'm also seeing what you're doing to me, and what you're doing does not line up with what you're saying. Therefore, I want no parts of you. So whatever you want to sit up here and say, maybe I've been able to take it before and be like, okay, we can move forward. But this ain't one of those times because now I know what you're about. Sonia arrives and she invites all of the girls to Jamaica. She tells them, listen, this is going to be a couples trip. With whatever deal that she got, they're willing to fly all of her friends plus one to Jamaica for this trip. And I feel like this is going to be a nice little trip. You know, that's really cool that she was able to get that going. That's pretty much the end of the episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this whole Kenya and Marlo thing. Who are you guys siding with? Do you agree with the things that Kenya said, or do you agree with the things that Marlo said? Thank you guys again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.